They called it justice. We called it genocide. 9 million lives snuffed out in a heartbeat. And they broadcasted it like a damn fireworks show. I watched Eden Prime burn, and I didn't mourn. I made a promise. No one, and I mean no one, crosses humanity and walks away breathing. They thought they were teaching us a lesson. Cute. We're the species that bites back harder, and we brought hell with us. They called it a demonstration, a warning, they said. 9 million human lives snuffed out in a flash of blue fire, and the Galactic Council dared to call it mercy. Elias Cade stood on the bridge of the Hellfire Anvil, his eyes locked on the silent feed from Eden Prime. What was left of it? Ash, smoke, twisted metal, orbiting a dead world. He didn't flinch. He didn't blink. He just clenched his fists behind his back until his knuckles cracked like distant thunder. His comms officer, a young woman barely out of training, turned to him, voice trembling. "Commander, the Council broadcast, they're calling it lawful retribution for non-compliance." Elias didn't move. His jaw tightened. "Lawful? They vaporized children, Merrick. What law justifies that?" He stepped forward, slow, deliberate, the steel of the deck ringing beneath his boots. "Put it on." The main screen flickered. The High Chancellor of the Galactic Council appeared, regal reptilian eyes cold and indifferent. "Let this serve as a lesson to the humans of the Iron Halo. Defiance is unacceptable. Join or be judged." The transmission cut. Silence. Then Elias laughed, a low, humorless sound that rolled through the bridge like smoke. "Lesson received." He turned, voice sharp as a blade. "Send this message to every human system. Prepare for war. No votes. No debates. We end this." "Commander," Merrick hesitated, "Earth hasn't authorized." Earth is gone. He didn't need to explain. Political paralysis had left Earth a shadow of its former authority. We don't need permission to survive. He strode from the bridge, his mind already racing ahead. Vengeance wasn't enough. It had to be a reckoning. The war room of the Hellfire Anvil was cold, functional, filled with hollow displays of council systems, fleet positions, and weapon schematics. Elias stared at a blinking red icon, Arc Forge. The council had called them savages for even considering its use. He smiled. An encrypted call came through. A familiar voice, gruff and tired. "Cade, you really doing this?" "Not a choice anymore, Anders." Anders sighed. "You light that forge, there's no turning back." There never was. Silence hung, heavy. "Where do you strike first?" Galdrak full, their pride and joy. "Let's rip it out of their chest." Elias ended the call. He opened the Black Forge protocols, security layers falling away like rotten skin, quantum singularity warheads, untested, unstable, perfect. 3 days later, the fleet was ready. Elias stood before his assembled officers, each hardened by years of skirmishes and betrayals. "The Council thinks we're animals, beasts to be tamed. They burned Eden Prime to teach us fear. Let's teach them what fear really looks like. No cheers, no applause, just cold determination." The Hellfire Anvil jumped first, leading the charge. Galdrak 4 loomed ahead, its defenses bristling, unprepared for madness. The Council hailed them. "Stand down, human fleet. This is protected space." Elias leaned into the comm. "And this is a protected species. Consider this retaliation." He gave the signal. Black Forge missiles screamed into the void, tearing, open reality as they struck. Galdrak 4's shields flickered, then failed, collapsing like wet paper. Singularities bloomed, sucking matter, energy, and life into oblivion. Council ships scrambled, firing wildly, but the human fleet was all ready. Among them, cutting, burning, breaking. Elias watched as the planet's core fractured, tectonic plates shattering under the impossible force. He spoke into the open channel, his voice echoing across frequencies. This is just the beginning. The Council's response was swift. They condemned the attack, called humanity terrorists, abominations. But fear laced their words, thinly veiled. Back on the Hellfire anvil, Elias reviewed the aftermath. "How many did we lose?" he asked. "2 destroyers. Minimal. Casualties, they never expected it," Merrick replied, her hands steady now. "They will next time." A new alert flashed. A message, encrypted, routed through a dozen systems. Elias opened it, expecting council threats. What he saw instead made his blood run cold. "They know about the forge. Betrayal comes from within." He didn't hesitate. "Double security, no one in or out without my say." Anders appeared on the screen again, face grim. "They know." "Let them come," Elias growled. "We'll burn them too." But he knew this wasn't over. The council would hit back and harder, and someone, somewhere, had sold them out. He stared at the holomap, the red lines of conflict spreading. This wasn't just revenge. This was survival. And survival meant no mercy. The silence after Galdrak 4's destruction was louder than the battle itself. Across the iron halo, human systems roared to life, emboldened by the strike. The Council's message had backfired, badly. They wanted obedience. They got defiance soaked in fire. Elias Cade stood in the command center of the Hellfire Anvil, staring at the incoming transmission queue, a flood of calls from allies, enemies, and uncertain voices. He ignored them all, eyes locked on one. Earth's provisional government. "Cade," the Chancellor began, her voice sharp. "You've gone too far. Galdrak 4 was a critical world. Do you have any idea what you've unleashed?" Elias didn't blink. "They crossed the line first. I'm just finishing the lesson. This isn't a war we can win with brute force. We're not ready for a prolonged conflict." He leaned forward. "We don't need long. We need to hit them so hard, so fast, they never recover. You want to wait? Fine, stay out of the way." She hesitated. "We can't sanction this." "You won't have to." He ended the call. Sanctioned or not, it didn't matter. This wasn't politics anymore. It was survival. A soft chime drew his attention. Marek, pale, eyes wide. "Commander, Forge 13's secure channel just went dark." His blood ran cold. Forge 13 was the heart of the Black Forge initiative. Losing it wasn't an option. "Get me a jump route, now." As the ship prepped, Elias reviewed the data. Forge 13 had gone silent just after the Council's condemnation. Too convenient, too fast. Someone tipped them off. He scanned the names. The logs, the last communications. A name stuck out. General Rourke, loyal, trusted, and missing. The jump to Forge 13 was short, but it felt endless. The system came into view, but the station didn't. Where there should have been a massive weapons hub, there was debris, twisted steel, dead air. Elias stood frozen. "Scan for survivors." "None, sir." He clenched his fists. "Trace the last outgoing transmission." Marek worked fast. "It was rerouted. Council frequencies." Betrayal. He felt it in his bones. Rourke hadn't just run, he'd sold them out. Sold out everything. Elias paced, thoughts racing. "Bring up Rourke's last known coordinates." The trail led to Krylon's belt, a dead zone, lawless, perfect for hiding, perfect for cowards. Within hours, the Hellfire Anvil descended into the belt, weaving through shattered asteroids and rogue ships. A signal flickered, faint but familiar. "That's him," Elias growled. "Bring us in." They found the ship, old, scarred, but alive. Docking was risky, but Elias didn't hesitate. He boarded with a small team, weapons ready. Inside, darkness, silence, then a voice. Elias. Rourke stepped from the shadows unarmed. You came. Elias raised his rifle. You destroyed Forge 13. Rourke shook his head. No, I saved us. The Council's power is beyond anything you've faced. Galdrak IV was a mistake. You gave them our edge. I prevented extinction. Elias stepped closer, fury burning. You prevented victory. They have a time weapon. They can erase Earth, Elias. This isn't about pride. It's about survival. You don't survive by kneeling. Rourke sighed. You won't win this war. Elias didn't reply. He fired. One shot. Rourke fell. No words left. Merrick's voice came through the comm. Commander, long-range scans detect Council ships approaching Krylon's belt. Elias turned, already moving. We're not done yet. Back on the Hellfire anvil, Elias watched the Council fleet close in. 3 dreadnoughts, more firepower than they'd faced before. He smiled. Prepare the singularities. Let's show them we don't need the forge. The battle was brutal. The anvil moved like a predator, weaving between blasts, returning fire with surgical precision. Elias directed every move, relentless, unforgiving. As the last dreadnought split apart, a transmission came through, distorted, desperate. You will be erased. Earth will be wiped. Elias leaned in. Erase this. He fired the final shot. The silence returned, but it wasn't peace. It was the calm before something worse. Merrick approached, quiet. What now? He looked out at the stars. We find that time weapon, and we end this war. The silence didn't last. Barely a day had passed before the Council made its next move. They weren't about to let the destruction of Galdrak IV or the loss at Krylon's belt go unanswered. Elias stood over the hollow map, watching as Council fleets began to reposition, their lines shifting, converging toward the Iron Halo's outer rim. They were coming, and they were bringing everything. Merrick's voice cut through the tension. Intercepted a message, Commander. Council fleets have activated their chrono lance. They're preparing to fire. Elias didn't look away from the map. Target? Earth. He didn't curse, didn't shout. He just inhaled, slow and deep, like he'd been expecting this moment. Maybe he had. Initiate Black Forge protocols, full activation. Merrick hesitated. We haven't tested it at that scale. We're out of time to test. The Black Forge was humanity's last resort, its ace in the void. Forbidden by every law Earth had left, it wasn't a weapon. It was an abomination. A blend of stolen alien tech and human madness designed to twist space and time until nothing recognizable remained. Elias had always known it might come to this. Now, it was their only shot. The command went out, and the Black Forge lit up. Buried deep in the Iron Halo's core systems, its engines roared awake, ancient and terrible. The plan was simple. Disrupt the Chrono Lance's targeting array before it fired. If they couldn't, Earth wouldn't just be destroyed, it would be erased from history. A single ship couldn't do it. They needed the Ghost Titans. Elias stood before the cryo chambers, where the minds of humanity's deadliest warlords were, stored, preserved in digital stasis, waiting for a cause worthy of their resurrection. He keyed in the sequence, and the chambers hissed open one by one. The first voice to speak was a growl. Cade. You finally need us. Elias nodded. We've got one shot. The Council fires that lance. Earth's gone. I need you to break their line. Hard. You've got a war. We'll give you hell. The Titans were unleashed. Massive constructs of living metal and rage, powered by human defiance and ancient fury. They moved faster than any Council fleet could react, dropping into enemy lines like fists through glass. The Council was ready for ships, for bombs, but not for this. Elias watched from the anvil, every nerve alight. Status on the lance? Marek's fingers flew across the controls. 30 minutes to charge. We're running out of time. The Ghost Titans tore through the Council's outer fleets, but the core was still intact, and the Lance's array was buried deep within. We'll have to go through them, Elias muttered. He opened a channel to the Titans. You've done enough. Fall back. Not a chance, came the reply. That's an order. The line went dead. Elias slammed his fist on the console. Prepare for a direct strike. We're going in. The anvil dove toward the heart of the Council fleet, every weapon blazing. Shields screamed under the pressure, but the path was clear, carved by the Titan's sacrifice. The lance loomed ahead, a structure too massive to comprehend, its core pulsing with stolen time. Target the array, Elias ordered. We don't need to destroy it, just blind it. Weapons locked, fired. The lance's shielding flickered, then held. Not enough. Again! They fired. The shield cracked, but still held. A new alert. The lance's energy spiked. Marek's voice was tight. They're about to fire. Elias stared at the screen, at the glowing wound in the universe. Then he saw it. A weakness. A flicker in the array's core. He didn't hesitate. Full power to forward cannons. Charge everything. You'll fry the systems. Do it. The anvil's hull groaned, engines roaring past safe limits. The cannons lit up, a searing lance of power, and fired. The beam hit dead center, the array shattered. The lance trembled, its core unstable, energy spiraling out of control. Marek screamed, "It's going critical! Get us out of here!" The anvil turned, engines burning, racing from the imploding lance. Behind them, light twisted, collapsed, and exploded outward, swallowing the Council fleet. Silence then. Elias leaned back, eyes closed. Report. Marek exhaled, shaky. The lance is gone. Earth's safe. He didn't smile. He couldn't. The cost was too high. The Titans were gone. The forge was spent. But for now, humanity still stood. Broadcast this, Elias said, voice rough. To everyone, Earth lives. We're not done. He turned away from the screen, already thinking of the next battle. The Council had fired first, but he would make sure they never fired again. The Council wasn't finished. The destruction of the Chrono Lance had crippled their plans, but not their pride. Within hours, a new broadcast swept through the galaxy, filled with venom and desperation. Elias stood, arms crossed, as the High Chancellor's face appeared once, again cracked with rage. Humans have violated every law of the stars. For this, they will be purged. We invoke the final accord. All Council species, all fleets converge, annihilate the Iron Halo. Elias didn't flinch. He waited, silent, as the message ended. Marek turned, fear flickering behind her eyes. They're bringing everyone. Good, Elias said, voice low. Let them. A red light blinked, priority 1. An old contact, one he didn't expect. The screen flickered, and the face of Varek, the last surviving chieftain of the Zalthari, filled the space. A former enemy, beaten years ago in the Rift Wars. You burned my world, human, Varek growled. Elias stared, unblinking. You attacked first. And now they come for you. What do you want, Varek? I want survival, and I know how the Council thinks. They will not stop, not unless you end them completely. Elias narrowed his eyes. You offering something? Varek leaned closer. Their weakness, Zephyros Prime. It's not just their capital, it's their source, their control center for the Accord. Take it and you break them. Elias didn't. Trust him. But trust didn't matter now. The plan was simple. End it at the heart. He cut the feed. Plot a course to Zephyros Prime. Marek spun. That's suicide. Then we'll die loud. The fleet jumped, faster than the Council could regroup. Zephyros Prime hung like a jewel, pristine and untouched by war for centuries. That would change. Elias opened a fleet-wide channel. They think they've seen human rage. They haven't. Not yet. This is the last strike. We end it now or we don't come back. Either way, they'll remember. No cheers, just steel resolve. The first wave hit the outer rings, planetary, shields lighting up like suns. The Council's armada rose to meet them, a wall of metal and fire. The anvil dove straight in, cutting through lines, flanked by the last of the Iron Halo's finest. Explosions tore through the sky, ships burned, falling like comets. The Titans were gone, but their legacy wasn't. Every soldier, every pilot fought with the same fury, the same refusal to yield. Merrick's voice rang out. Shield generators, 3 locations. We take them down, we can hit the surface. Elias nodded. Split the fleet. Hit them all at once. It was chaos. Perfect. Humans thrived in chaos. The anvil took the central. Target. Elias led the charge, guns blazing, ignoring the warnings screaming through the ship. They broke through, slamming into the station like a hammer. Boarding teams surged out, cutting down resistance, fighting room by room. Elias moved fast, his rifle speaking for him. He didn't slow, didn't hesitate. Every council officer he met fell. No time for mercy, not now. They reached the core, the generator pulsing with energy. Marek planted charges, her hands steady. Ready. Blow it. The station shook, lights flickering. 1 down, 2 to go. Reports came in, success at the other targets. The shield flickered, then dropped. Open fire, Elias ordered. The fleet unleashed everything, pounding the surface of Zephyros Prime, breaking through layers of defense built over centuries. Elias didn't stop. He took the anvil down, straight into the storm. The capital burned. The council's palace crumbled under the weight of humanity's fury. Elias landed, leading the final push himself. The High Chancellor waited, surrounded by guards. Elias walked forward, alone, rifle in hand. The Chancellor sneered. You are a virus. No, Elias said, raising his weapon. We're the cure. 1 shot. The Chancellor fell. The guards dropped their weapons. Silence. Elias turned to his men. Burn it all. Zephyros Prime didn't fall. It shattered. And with it, the Council. The fires of Zephyros Prime still raged behind them, but Elias didn't look back. He stood at the top of the ruined steps where the Council's throne had once sat, the great hall cracked and crumbling around him. His armor was scorched, his hands bloodied, yet his eyes burned with the same unyielding intensity that had brought them here. Around him, the last of the Iron Halo's forces gathered, silent, waiting. The war was over, but the void it left behind was heavy. Marek approached, slower now, her voice raw. The fleet reports total collapse. Council systems are in chaos. Orders? Elias didn't answer right away. He stared at the broken remains of the throne, then turned to face his people. There are no more orders. She frowned. You mean to disband? I mean, we didn't fight this war to become them. We're not rulers. We're not conquerors. A murmur spread. Some understood. Others didn't want to. A message broke through the static, a desperate voice from the outer colonies. Commander, Cade, the Council's remnants are rallying. Not to fight, but to plead. They want terms. Elias shook his head. They can keep their pleas. Let them govern themselves if they can. Marek's voice was tight, uncertain. You're leaving them to collapse? We gave them a warning. That's all they'll get. He stepped down from the throne room, walking past shattered columns and bodies, past the echoes of a galaxy that had tried to break humanity and failed. The anvil was waiting, its hull scarred but whole. As he boarded, the crew stood straighter, eyes on him, waiting for what came next. He spoke without hesitation. Set course for the Halo. We go. Home. No victory parades, no speeches, just silence, and the knowledge that they had done the impossible. As the ship pulled away, the burning light of Zephyros faded behind them. Elias sat alone in his quarters, for the first time feeling the weight of everything they had lost. Ghosts of friends, of enemies, of choices that could never be undone. He reached for the console, opening a secure channel. His voice was steady. "This is Elias Cade. To anyone listening, hear this. The war is over. Humanity stands, but we do not rule. We do not seek dominion. Cross us again, and we will return. Stronger, deadlier. But until then, we will rebuild, and we will remember." He closed the message, leaning back, eyes closing. For now, there was peace. Not because they wanted it, but because they had earned it, carved it out of the galaxy's spine with blood and fire. Merrick entered quietly. "It's done?" "For now." She hesitated, then sat beside him. "Was it worth it?" Elias didn't answer immediately. He opened his eyes, staring at the stars beyond the glass. It had to be. Outside, the stars drifted, silent witnesses to a new order. One born not of law or fear, but of rage spent and power restrained. Humanity didn't claim the galaxy that night, but they made sure no one else ever would.